All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have not streamed in over a month at this point. Welcome back to November's Shark News Live. Like I said, it's been like over a month since I've done a stream. I apologize for that, but we are back with a slow GI Joe classified stream or update, whatever the hell you want to call it. How is everybody doing? Happy holidays, in the sense of hope everyone had a very great Thanksgiving. I do know and I am aware it is a Sunday, so thank you to everyone or anyone who's joining. Even if it's less than 5 people, honestly, I really don't mind. I had some spare time today, so I figured since this is actually the last day of November, why not do one final live stream for November, and then we'll kick off December with hopefully more streams. But for now, how's everybody doing? Welcome, Alan Balcom, my brother. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining. Miss says, "What's up, Shark? Happy holidays." Thanks to you as well, Miss. Derek Holloman, what's going on, brother? And of course, I would respond to myself on the Retro Shark. That's funny. Title Manishir says, "Happy Thanksgiving." How's it going, brother? Thank you so much for joining. Stigma and NYC, how's it going? Says, "Yo, Shark." Yeah, I mean, well, surprisingly, November was a pretty slow month for anything classified related. I mean, there were the Black Friday sales from Hasbro Pulse and Big Bad Toy Store and all the other websites, but surprisingly, there weren't that many great figures that went up on sale, which I thought was pretty weird. Usually last year, I thought last year was like much better. There was like a buttload of figures that went up for sale, but this year we had the same figures go up for sale. I mean, majority of them, even on Hasbro Pulse's website, majority of them was really just the retro carded figures. You didn't really get much of the other mainline figures, and even if there were some mainline figures, the prices weren't like too steep as a drastic discount. So, but if you're a retro card collector for classified, then it was kind of like a little good holiday season for you guys to get those figures. We have Jesus Ricardo says happy holidays happy holidays, Shark, from Mexico. Shout out to Jesus all the way from Mexico. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate that. Ionic Blood, the legend, says, "Hey, now what's this?" Yeah, I know. Very long time since I've streamed. Very sad. I'm so sorry. um, it's good to have some of you back. Again, I know it's a Sunday. I don't expect to have, I don't know, a lot of people tonight because I know people are still with their families. They're coming back from the holidays, and whoever can make it, that's great. If you're watching this stream later, thank you so much for even joining afterwards. I do appreciate that. So, but otherwise, Title Manishir says, "I got my sci-fi wetsuit mainframe last week, Steeler and Short Fuse the week before. November wasn't too rough." Surprisingly, with those figures, from what I can gather in terms of the reviews that I've watched, it seems like there's mixed reactions towards mainframe. Oh, I forgot the chat. Where the hell is my chat? 1 second. My bad. There you are. Yeah, so mainframe seemed to have been getting the mixed reactions for the line, in the sense of people have been giving him positive feedback in the sense of it's a decently sculpted figure and it's good. It's just that his height really ruined it for a lot of people. This is not to say for everybody, and I'm just, basing it off of the consensus of what I've seen from most reviews and people who've posted photos all over socials. Mainframe is a well sculpted figure. It's just he is probably one of the shortest figures next to Tunnel Rat, I believe. So I think that's made some collectors not too happy about that. So it was kind of like a missed opportunity to make Mainframe a really solid figure, but I mean it is what it is, so it's okay. Um, as for probably one of the strongest figures in the wave, I've seen people say that Sci-Fi has been one of the greatest releases in the line so far. So people have been enjoying Sci-Fi, which is pretty great because I've been waiting for Sci-Fi for a long time. And unfortunately, like I pre-ordered my Sci-Fi from Big Bad Toy Store, but they are not shipping him out until December, I think, or maybe early January. I don't even know what the hell is going on because if you ordered your figures from like Hasbro Pulse or I think anywhere else, you should have already gotten it. Your figures. But since I did Big Bad Toy Store, I mean, mine still says December, so I don't know if I should cancel it, get it on Pulse instead. I really don't know. I mean, yeah, Sci-Fi and Desert Scorpion were the only two figures I pre-ordered from that wave, and it still hasn't even come yet. So I don't know if I should cancel it, reorder it on Pulse, or should I just wait it out? Because I don't know. Alan says, anyone able to find Heavy Duty on the shelves? I was able to find him as well and picked him up on the deal Target was offering at the time. I mean, I personally have not seen Heavy Duty, the Cobra Island one. And oh wait, which Heavy Duty you're talking about? That's Roadblock shit. No, I haven't seen any Heavy Duties on the shelf. Sorry, I was thinking about the Cobra Island Roadblock. I called them Heavy Duty before. But yeah. No, I haven't seen any Heavy Duties yet, but I think he was on sale briefly, even on Entertainment Earth for like 40 something, I think. I don't know. Title Manishir says the size difference between him and the other figures is jarring. I don't know why they made him so short. I mean, I can't think of any reason why they made him short unless you're like if you know and have read the comics or have that issue in the sense of the comics or like that where it tells you the height accuracy of the characters, maybe you can help me out with this, but I don't remember Mainframe being short either, because I know in the movie Tunnel Rat was already the shortest character to begin with, and then in the cartoon, at least in the second season, Mainframe seemed like roughly the same height as Beachhead, I think. So I don't know why he's short, which is very unfortunate. Derek says, questioning getting Sci-Fi. I didn't like the character, but looks good in box. I mean, to be quite honest, I think Sci-Fi is a pretty strong character, at least from what I can gather. He's probably the top 10 best classified figures to date at the moment. So I mean, if you're really on the fence about that figure, perhaps you can wait until maybe some sale, but if you're really, really, really eager, then I think he's still on sale on Hasbro Pulse. My wetsuit arrives tomorrow, said Derek Holloman. Yeah, I mean it's been a pretty good year for Classified. In the past like 6 months, they've been nonstop rolling out figures, like I think every other month or every month roughly. So I mean it's been a pretty wild ride, to be honest. So that's really good. Before we get into tonight's original topic, which is going over the figures that recently just went up for pre-order not too long ago, probably like a month ago, because again, I'm pretty late in streaming this. Let's quickly take a look at one unboxing now, or one figure that I did unbox, and then another subscriber gift unboxing, which we'll do by the end of the stream. So the first one, I do want to give a huge shout out to my brother Alan, who's in the chat right now, who did a generous subscriber gift, which was the Transformers Optimus Primal Beast Wars model kit. I don't know if you can really see it on screen, but I did record the video, so all I need to do is just edit the unboxing. So this will be on the Retro Shark Toy channel. But this was a pretty this is my first ever model kit that I've ever gotten sent to. So it was a really, really fun thing to do, and thank you so much, man. Like I had a blast putting it together, and somewhat of a rough time too, because the instructions were kind of tedious. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. So otherwise, we will save the other second unboxing towards the end of the stream. So that was just part 1 of 2. But let's go ahead and start the main topic of tonight. Modest Toy Collector says, unfortunately, since the price increase, I haven't been able to keep collecting. Well, actually, that's a very good topic, actually. So we also are aware that, Hasbro has increased their prices, and so that has really made a lot of collectors, I shouldn't say, yeah, I think mostly a lot, not everyone, but a lot of collectors kind of not wanting to pay that $28 price point for a certain figure, which explains why the past 2 waves or past 3 waves, I think a lot of the figures have not been sold out, at least on the Hasbro Pulse website. So aside from exclusives, if some figures have not been sold out, then you can kind of tell where the mindset is for some collectors, whether it's money or it's the type of character choice selection or it's just the timing of the character. Because if you remember in the past 4 years, whenever a figure was announced or revealed, it didn't even matter what character it was, everything would immediately sell out on Hasbro Pulse. And then now we're reaching to a point where they've made mostly all the crucial essential characters from 1982 or 83-ish all the way up to 1986, if you haven't seen my yearbook videos. And because of that, collectors are being more selective now. So it's totally understandable because the world has gone to shits and priorities have shifted a lot in terms of, I don't know how many, and this is none of my business either, but like, I don't know how many collectors are also utilizing like SNAP or food stamps or all that stuff. They've been cut off from that as well, so money definitely had to be allocated into buying food instead of figures. So that was definitely a hard-hitting point for a lot of collectors, or not a lot, but like a majority of collectors if they're in that situation. So whatever the situation is, toy collecting has drastically changed over the years, or at least this past year, including for prices. So definitely got to look after your priorities over getting a figure first. So it explains why the last 2 waves were more still in stock compared to being like completely sold out, unless it's like an exclusive or a very die-hard like essential figure like the Steeler and Short Fuse 2-pack, which again was the stupidest idea for making it a Target exclusive because they are essentials. Derek Hallman says, is that so how do you pronounce it? It's a blocky, right? Blocky or blokey? I think it's whatever, blocky. Those are great. Yes, they are. Alan says, if anyone is hiding out in the Diver 2-pack, if they hit clearance and you want one, let me know. I'm not opposed to pick up figures and shipping them out to others. That's good stuff, man. Alan is willing to help out if anybody wants to get a Diver 2-pack from the classified line, if interested. Ionic Blood says, canceling a ton of figures after the price hike. Modest Toy Collector says, thanks, Alan. Very nice of you. Alan says, I was having issues having to pay $25 price for the regular figures. Can't pay the $28. Then we have, who do we have? Miss says, the price on the classified 2-packs is ridiculous. Derek says, blocky. Okay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Holy shit, we have Emoji Matt 87 with the holy moly $10 subscriber donation. Thank you so much, man. You get a shark heart. What is Emoji Matt says? Hello, I just found you. Have you reviewed Lifeline yet? Was always a big fan of the more offbeat Joes. I stopped collecting figures due to money problems, so I will now live through you guys. Oh, wow. Okay, to be quite honest, so I have another channel called The Retro Shark where I review figures. Now, I'm really behind and I'm not like up to date on reviewing collectors on the spot. But if you are interested, there's plenty of YouTubers out there who get their figures like extremely early. So if I were to ever review Lifeline, it'll probably be like later down the line. But there's tons of YouTubers who actually get their figures early who, review or have reviewed Lifeline already. So, but I will review it at some point. It's just I'm always delayed in reviewing it because I never get like the figures first, and because I also collect a lot. Like you can see behind me, Emoji Matt, I have all these figures on the shelves right here. So because I collect so many other lines, like sometimes I have to pick and choose whether I'm all in on GI Joe or I just get other figures as well. But thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. I wish I can pin that, and I think that's your first time here on the chat, so it's an honor to have you be here and your first comment on the chat being a channel donation. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. But however, since Emoji Matt did do a channel donation, for anyone here in the chat, I don't think they shipped out Lifeline yet, but if anybody has Lifeline, would you like to share your thoughts on the figure? Write it in the comments below, just so Emoji Matt can get an idea of how he how it should perceive him. Title Manashir says, I have picked up all the Transformer Defender blockies. Ooh. Yeah, my cousin who lives in New Jersey, who I actually just met up with yesterday, he showed me that he only has 5 blocky Transformers, and he said they were pretty good. So I would have showed you the Optimus one, but I already put it on the shelf. Swift of Horror 365 says, Happy Thanksgiving weekend, everyone. Thank you so much, Swift of Horror. I really do appreciate that. It's good to have you. I think this is your first time here on the chat. So shout out to Swift Horror. Modest Toy Collector says, yeah, $25 says I had to stop buying army builders. Well, oh, Will Newman, Will Newman, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. What was I saying? Yeah, so the way I'm gonna state this, and I don't know if you guys, and let me know in the comments if you'd agree. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But when it comes to prices, when you look at some figures that are $28 now in classified line, there are some figures where, yes, they look really good, but there's also some figures that don't deserve the $28 price point. And when Hasbro, a big company like Hasbro, is charging so much money for these figures, and then you realize that they're also limiting themselves in detail. Not every character, but some. And that makes it very annoying, because it's like the more the prices are going higher, the more they're limiting themselves on like sculpting or color or shading or whatever. So I think that's what also turned off a lot of collectors as well. Not everyone, of course, because Classified is still one of the best lines that Hasbro has. Emoji Matt 87 says, do you read the comics? Image Comics is on a roll. Ooh, thank you so much for the $5, brother. So I'm currently reading the Marvel run of the G.I. Joe comics, the original Marvel run, and in my closet, right, I mean, you guys can't even see it anyway, but in my closet, I have a whole box of G.I. Joe comics, which I was a huge fan of the IDW run. I don't know if many people have read that one. IDW and Image Comics, I believe. So those two were my favorites, in the sense of I loved reading those comics, and the storylines were just absolutely great. So those were the ones that I read, and those were like aside from the 80s ones, the 2000s all the way to like 2005s. There's a very one of my favorite run from one of the issues is called Frontline. And I love the Frontline, and I think Frontline only ended at issue like 27, I believe. So, and there's like a 4-part issue in that Frontline series where it talks about some of the characters going in the Arctic base, and they're trying to like fight off Yetis, and only like 5 or 6 characters are allowed to go on that mission. So like it was Lifeline, Duke, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, And I don't remember the other one. Snow Job maybe. I forgot, but yeah. Lifeline isn't supposed to release until March 2026. Okay, thank you, Title Manager. Alan Balcom says, for whatever reason, Walmart had all their big blocky Transformers for $5, so I literally grabbed them all. Oh shit, $5? That's crazy. Derek Holloman says, I got 4 Transformer small blockies. They are really nice for the price. Okay, I actually did not know what the prices were. I thought there was expensive stuff. But I mean, for that price, I mean, the quality is pretty decent, I'll tell you that. Alan says, all the army builders, I'm waiting for them. That's another thing, because if you're spending like $28 on an army builder, that's a lot, in my opinion. I think $20 price point for army builders is really reasonable, because you're getting more. But $28 to $29 for like one figure and being an army builder, that's a lot. Okay. So now let's go to the one of the main topics for tonight, which is the retro card back figures that went up for pre-order. So if you are in the chat right now, and if you are watching tonight's stream, let me know in the comment or in the chat what you think of this figure, because it's going to be a pretty short stream, so let's just enjoy it for while we can. So the first figure we're going to take a look at is the retro card back Crazylegs. So what do you guys think about this? Because I never got a chance to go live to talk about it when it first went up for pre-order. I think I did a Shark News video on it, but I didn't really get to see your thoughts or your point of view. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Alan. I mean, you saw the photo I sent you on Instagram. Like, I'm a huge Beast Wars fan, so, and I always thought about getting the Hasbro Rise of the Beasts. I don't know what the hell you call it. The other whatever series that they made for that movie. I wanted to get those because there was only like 4 figures of the Beast Wars line, so unfortunately I never got a chance to get them. But thank you. I mean, I really do like that Optimus. That it fits right in scale with the old 90s versions. Alan says, I try to get at least 8 to 10 army builders, and again, only on good sales. Yeah, I mean, Black Friday only had a really good sale for the I think it was the retro card Cobra Trooper. He was like, I think $16. I think I could be wrong. It was roughly around that price. And I think that was a really, really fantastic price for that particular figure. If you're someone who wants that particular Cobra Trooper other than the Cobra Island, because there's like, I believe there's like 4 versions of the Cobra Troopers right now, so I think that one really is probably one of the more fan favorites. Even though I love the Cobra Officer, that's probably the best sculpted version of the Cobra Troopers, but yeah, I mean, it just depends on preference at this point. Let's see here. Alan also says, oh no, sorry, I read that one. Will Newman says, I passed on it since I got the Night Force version with the Dragonfly. So, for those that are new, this figure has already been part of the Night Force, or should I say, sorry, it's already been part of the Dragonfly Haslab campaign, and that came with an original head of him just staring. This version comes with a yelling head, and I think that was probably the only thing that collectors may not like about it, because, like, I mean, I don't oppose to having yelling faces. It's just that if it's the only face you're giving us, then I'm sure that there's also collectors out there who don't have the Haslab Crazylegs version. So that means to get a normal face Crazylegs, you probably would have to find it on eBay of someone selling an alternate head, whereas I think the Joe team really should have gave us an alternate head sculpt that's not yelling, but I kind of get it, because hopefully you should have the option to like interchange the heads, so you can, but that's only if you also have the Dragonfly or if you bought it solo without the Dragonfly and you bought it off eBay if you really wanted to get the Night Force Crazy Legs. But Derek says, passed on Crazy Legs for now. We'll wait until I see it in person. Yeah, so Crazy Legs has always been one of my top 10 favorite Joes I played with as a kid, and when I saw the classified version, I was just like, there's something, I do apologize, I don't mean to be completely nitpicky on these figures, but I'm just I try to balance it out in the sense of what is the price point for these figures, and for $28, are you getting the good amount of detail for it? Because I look at this Retro Crazy Legs, and even then, despite how accurate it looks, I think that the Joe team really needs to realize small details really do matter, at least in my opinion. Because the harness, yeah, it's 100% accurate to the old original figure, but if they just colored it a little bit more, even the buckles or the pins, silvers and some blacks and something, I think that would have made it a little more ideal, but it kind of is what it is. And even looking at the backpack, it's just all brown. Couldn't they have colored it or put some type of shading on it or something? But otherwise, the suit is fine. It's just I feel like the Joe team is purposely shitting on all my favorite characters, even though this is a good character, or good design in general. It's just every character that I'm anticipating for, I'm always I feel like I'm kind of let down. So I don't know. Title Manager says the new expression faces they're trying out is another odd choice. Yeah, and I think I don't really mind the yelling faces because it kind of gives you that whole G.I. Joe aesthetic. It's just they need to incorporate alternate heads with it. Derek says, same here, Will Newman. Alan says, I want him. I just don't want a retro card back. I need a Crazy Legs and a classified. Oh, so are you an inbox collector then? Because I don't remember. I think it was somebody told me in the chat, or not in the chat, sorry, one of my videos, that I don't quote me on this because I'm paraphrasing, but they mentioned something like starting in 2026 that the GI Joe team is focusing, or they want to focus more on the classic styles and more on the retro card backs. So I don't know how true that is, but I guess we'll see. Oh shit, Swift of Horror with the $5 channel donations. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. I give you the shark heart. Thank you so much, man. That was a very generous $5. He says some of the figures Hasbro gives us are the budget figures at a premium price point. I agree. Okay, that's valid. I'm enjoying Classified Valaverse, Action Force, Robotron, and Operation Monster Force. I mean, yeah, no, I think... Okay, so Swift of Horror makes a very valid point. I think considering Classified as a budget-friendly... I mean, it really depends on your terminology on budget, because not everyone makes the same amount of money, but... I think, for example, can someone in the comments or chat let me know, or even Swift of Horror let me know, how much does an Operation Monster Force go? Because I know Valaverse, his figures are $26, $27, or $26, right? He's still at the 25 price point, or is he at the 27 now? I don't remember. Because Monster Force, I've been hearing nothing but extreme praises for their line, and I hope to get some of those someday, but I've been seeing nothing but positive feedback for almost all the Monster Force figures. And with Monster Force, you look at that price point, even if Monster Force is above $30, look at the detail that Monster Force is, Fresh Monkey Fiction is giving their figures. I mean, the quality of detail that they're some of the reviews that I've seen, I think it's worth the $30-something price point, versus the Classified team is heading at that $28 price point, and I don't think they've really solved the issue of snapping plastic or rubbery or gooey weapons or, skimping out on certain details. But it's really okay at the end of the day. I mean, I'm just trying to compare. But that was a good comment, Swift of Horror. Miss says, I hate when Hasbro makes figures with the mouth open, put a second head on it. Yeah, I agree. Jason says, hey, Shark, a freaking whale and a teardrop, baby. Thank you, Jason. Well, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining tonight's stream. Alan says, damn, that crazy legs that came with the dragonfly was nice. I think the crazy legs that came with the dragonfly, though, I think just his head sculpt was a little bit lackluster, because when you compare his face and the detail compared to other Joe figures, you'll notice that not every, it doesn't have that same amount of detail that the other ones have. And for a Haslab, I was a little bit let down, because I'm just like, if people are spending that much money on a Haslab and the figures look like a Barbie or a Ken doll, because that Haslab Crazy Legs, the facial features looks very underwhelming in my opinion. So I don't know what the deal with that was. Alan says, oh yeah, hit that like button. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for reminding me. Swift Horror says, I don't mind him yelling while parachuting. Yeah, it actually helps for photography. That's very true. The yelling face does help when he's parachuting. However, the figure does not come with an actual parachute, so that's another unfortunate thing. But, I guess you can use the Halo jumper parachute, and then I guess that could work too. So, I think it would have been interesting. Do you guys think that for this retro version that they should have included an actual parachute? Or do you think including a parachute would have made it a deluxe version instead? Alan says, my other critique of this figure is the brown-orange straps just looks bland. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my only thing about it. $20 a figure is not budget-friendly. Yeah. I mean, but then again, there are collectors here who have, cushier jobs, or they have, quote unquote money. So for them, they would say $28 is still reasonable. So, I mean, again, I read so many comments on the channel of people sharing their frustration or not caring about how much a figure costs. So the consensus is really all over the place. Will Newman says Monster Force is around $40 and up. Okay, no, but Swift says $38. Okay. Needed two heads says, oh, welcome Benedict to the chat. How's it going? The Dragonfly figures were rushed through quality control. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it, to be honest. Modest Toy Collector says the hands are starting to get bad on some figures, which is crazy. I could barely get Budo's gun in hands. I mean, Budo is sculpted really well. I love the way they designed him, especially with all those extra armor pieces and stuff. I mean, shoot. Irish Joy. Wait, what? Irish Joe. Oh, sorry. Irish Johnny B. I'm so sorry. Says, hey, Shark, greetings from Ireland. Holy crap. Says, looking for a Hisstank from Santa. Are you looking for a Hisstank, Irish Johnny? Am I saying that name right? So you're looking for a Hisstank. Does anybody here have a Hisstank for Irish Johnny who needs it all the way up in Ireland? Jason says prices everywhere up. Anyone seen RAM prices? In fact, you have seen the price for 1 pound of beef? Question mark. Parachute for Skydiver says Derek Holland. Modest Toy Collector says Budo. Swift says $28 is expensive for one figure. It's getting bad, but in exchange, they're going to have to give us the figures that we want. Supply and demand. Yeah, I mean, so the way I kind of do classified collecting is I toned it down after the $25 price range, because I always said $25 was my cap. Now, for figures like Sci-Fi and Desert Scorpion, I'm putting exceptions to those just because they look fantastic. And Desert Scorpion comes with that freaking giant ass scorpion. And Sci-Fi, I mean, he's always one of my favorites. But when you have characters like this, Crazy Legs, $28, no parachute, a yelling face, but no alternate head, lack of detail on the straps, then I'm just like, I can wait. Because I feel like this because think about it, and I don't mean to like put down any collectors who pay full price, but look at the sales that we had for Black Friday that I made videos on. A lot of retro figures, um, a lot of retro figures that were once $25 are now $15. Because I remember I paid freaking $25 for my retro Recondo, retro Scarlet, and retro Duke, and now I see them on Hasbro Pulse. I see them on Amazon for 15 or $12, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, retro Recondo lowest I've seen was $9. Oh, John Brooks. My bad, brother. You changed your username. That's why I got confused. But yeah, okay. So it's John Brooks. Okay, I remember. Jay Couchboy, what's going on, brother? Thank you so much for joining. He says when ultimates are $55, let Hasbro sneak to 30-ish, 5 years, maybe 40 seems crazy. I mean, because like figures again, like not Scrap Iron, Desert Scorpion and Sci-Fi are my favorites, you know, like certain figures because that's like I want to get them. But let's say within next year in 2026, if Hasbro decides to push the price up to $40, because we're at, sorry, not 40, I apologize, $30 because we're at 28 right now, I will, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like paying almost $30, roughly same price as NECA figures when they have, even though NECA figure joints are not the greatest, but the thing that makes Classified great though is that it's the only brand at the moment that gives you a lot of accessories. I mean, some figures are not that much, but because this brand has vehicles, it has so much, you know, you got knives, you got weapons, you got backpacks, you got like goggles, you got like, you know, straps and holsters and all that stuff like that. I think that's what kind of convinces me to be like, okay, like I can, like, you're pulling my leg, but I will still support it just because you're offering a lot compared to like other brands that I've seen so far. Because I feel bad sometimes even for Marvel Legends because like I see a Spider-Man figure and I'm like, okay, I get it, it's Spider-Man, like he's great. But when it's just a Spider-Man figure for $28 and all he has is 2 interchangeable hands, I'm like, we should definitely be grateful because Classified is giving us all these even helmets and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I know superheroes are completely different, but you get my point. But anyways, let's move on. So that is Crazylegs. We will see what happens with this figure in the future whenever it comes out. So good stuff. Coming up next, we have the retro card back Zap figure. So how many people got Zap? If anyone in the chat wants to weigh in your options or thoughts, please go ahead and do so. Do keep in mind, Zap almost completes the original 13, so I can understand why this will be a hard-hitting figure just because a lot of people want to complete that original 13, and we are only 2 characters away from completing the original 13, which is Flash and Grand Slam. Oh shit. Ionic Blood, the 666 with the $25. Holy dude, no man, that's a lot. Thank you so much for all the shout outs and the love of the hobby. Merry Christmas. Oh my god, thank you so much, man. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you as well, Ionic Blood, and thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. That really means a lot. Thank you, man. Man, 25 is a lot, man. That's no. But thank you so much, Ionic Blood. I apologize, I can't pin these comments. YouTube doesn't let me pin the channel donations on top. But I appreciate that, Ionic Blood. Thank you so much, man. Couch Boy says Big Lob, Lifeline, Night Viper, Mole Rat, Stage 2, Hit and Run, Female Guard, Crazylegs, and Snowcat. and no one else. Crazy backlogs over, ordered it, get it months. What? Oh, okay. You're saying get it months is back, y'all. Will Newman says I pre-ordered Zap. Title Manishir says I ordered both. Swift of Horror, sorry. Zap was sold out when I learned about him. So was Breaker. Oh man. Swift of Horror, where did you pre-order yours, or where did you try to get yours from? Derek Holloman says Zap was an instant pre-order. Need my original 13. Derek says ordered a female Crimson Guard as well. Yep, we'll get to her shortly. Will Newman says got my Stealer in Short Fuse 2. Put Stealer in a Ramen Toys Hunter tank. That Ramen thing looks insane though. Timothy James, welcome to the chat. Says what's up, Shark? Says yeah, I got him. Zap. That's great, man. Awesome. Congratulations. Miss says Zap looks like Judge Joe Brown. I mean, would you guys think it's weird to put this Zap head sculpt on a Stalker figure? Like, would that be something to do, or do you think that it wouldn't work well with Stalker? Because I know there's some collectors who don't like Stalker being like completely an old man. So this one looks quite young, and plus he has that same like mustache. Couchboy says no more channel name. YouTube uses our names. I'm Couchboy on both, but y'all look like a room of stranger dangers. Knowing is half the battle. What? Couchboy says he pre-ordered, not here. Ionic Blood says all is well. Ken Matinee, what's going on, brother? Says greetings, chat and Shark. Hope all is well. I definitely pre-ordered Zep. I'm trying to get most of the original 13. Nice. Congrats. Oh, shout out to Ken Matinee. Welcome back to the chat. It's good to see you back here. Ionic Blood says LMAO. Will Newman says Zap is on Amazon. Okay, Zap is on Amazon. So who was it that asked me again? Sorry, I apologize. Swift. Okay, Swift says, thank you, let me go check. Okay, so if anybody needs Zap, he is on Amazon, as Will Newman states. Alan says, no, I have always seen a lot of collectors do a lot of head swaps with other figures to make them look better. Okay. I mean, I do love the original Stalker figure. I just think that if whoever has the retro card back version, if you want like a younger Stalker figure, I think probably this Zap head sculpt would be good. I don't know. But I think it could work. It's possible. Couchboy says he needs a second head more. Mrs. Pumpkinhead. He's wrong. Who is he? Like making what? Ernie into Bert. Charlie Brown head. Ionic Blood says Zap looks like a drank too much Coquito? Weepa? What am I reading? Also, shout out to all the people in tonight's stream. I appreciate for joining on this Sunday night shenanigans. Thank you guys so much. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't streamed in over a month, so thank you. Also, if you haven't gotten the chance, please go ahead and hit that like button. It'll definitely help for sure. Ken Matinee says, yes, I definitely wish they made Stalker look a bit younger, at least on the retro version with the lighter greens. Well, yeah, I mean, so here's another thing. For those who are, you know, the diehard OG13 or even the retro card back versions, does it bother you that Stalker doesn't have the dark green beret, or do you prefer the camo beret on the retro card back? Because I know some people still were saying, oh, it's inaccurate, but like I personally don't care, but it is something to note if you're like a super duper completionist. But otherwise, like the alternate hands, helmet, weapons, etc. I thought it was a reuse of Bazooka's weapons, but thankfully not. So that's good. alternate hands. I mean, yeah, I mean, straightforward retro. But I'm kind of curious. I mean, maybe you guys in the chat can help me out on this. What do you think is the GI Joe team's reasoning is for making this Zap figure a retro card back one, but Steeler and Short Fuse get the mainline box treatment? Like, does that bother anyone else, or is that just me? Because sometimes I'm just like, I like to keep my retro card backs with the retro figures, and then I like to keep the mainline, like the boxier figures, like the more detailed and updated design ones with the, with the other characters. But then the ones that are in the mainline releases also look so retro-y that, you can mix and match. But I'm like, but now we're just paying for the packaging, and I'm like, I'm so lost at this point. um, Needs the green beret, says Derek Holloman. Ken Matinee says, I think they should have given the 2 alternate berets for Stalker. Okay, so at least it's good to know that 2 people here are interested in the other berets. Real Ware, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here in the chat. Says, anyone else wish they would stop doing removable helmets? I feel like they always look worse. For example, Barbecue and Copperhead are both amazing, and they both have helmet sculpts. That's a valid question. Let me see how I can respond to this. I think having removable helmets adds more value to the figure just because it helps with storytelling, or it helps with the imagination, because sometimes figures who don't have removable helmets, as a toy collector like myself, growing up with so many other action figures, as a kid, sometimes I always wish, like, what would a character would look like? What would his hair look like if, you can just remove these helmets or stuff? But so the fact that the GI Joe team is giving us the option for removable helmets, I think that's great. And the thing is like, there are characters like, Barbecue, where we know what his head looks like underneath the helmet. So I think for characters that have an alternate head sculpt, or that have like an unhelmeted version that we've seen in the cartoon or in the comics, I think that's okay for them to do. But if it's characters like, I don't know, Copperhead or Big Boa, like, sometimes it's like I don't need to know what they look like underneath that helmet, because I sometimes also like the mystery of it. And I know it's kind of hard to explain, but that's because those are more like, they cover the actual face. Characters like Scrap Iron, I think they did a really great job with giving us Scrap Iron, where he had like the half charred bubblegum head on the sides, because it looks like, he played with explosives too much. So I think that's really good storytelling, because you can remove the helmet. And sometimes, like, the GI Joe team takes the liberty in giving some characters like a mohawk or some weird, unique hairstyle. Like, for example, the Haslab Rattler, they gave Wild Weasel an alternate head where he looks like, a dashing Chris Evans, and with the blonde hair parted to the sides and stuff, and with a little scratch on the eye. So I think that actually, I think that, like, it just adds a good storytelling, as long as it's not like, how do I explain it? If they just gave us a Wild Weasel without that head sculpt, I would have been like, oh, it would have been nice if they did. But the fact that they did include it, I'm like, okay, at least it gives us the option to have. And plus, you can always use the alternate head sculpts for like other figures too. It doesn't just have to be for Wild Weasel. Bouchard Chris, welcome to the chat. Says, hello, my friend. How's it going, brother? Thank you so much for joining. I noticed you did the opposite with your name. Okay, it says, Ionic Blood says, for real, but I bet Barbecue is getting a 3rd release. Barbecue is a sneaky character, or sorry, not sneaky, a tricky character, because they made his version so great and so iconic to the original O-ring version that I don't know what they're going to do to update that character. Or if they re-release him, they could just give us like a different shade of orange, but I know there's other variant colors of barbecue out there. But I definitely know that they could definitely re-release him again with an alternate head sculpt, right, with the orange hair. But they would have to do something completely different, because isn't there another barbecue where he's, because not the Mad Marauders version, but isn't there another barbecue where he has a different color scheme, like black and yellow? Am I wrong? Am I making that up? I think there's a black and yellow version of barbecue. So maybe if they give us that version, we could see that version with an alternate head instead of re-releasing the orange one. So it's possible. So Couch Boy is saying something about handle names on YouTube. He says, "Who are all of you? Your names come up wrong." Benedict says $15 in a year for Zapper. No. What? Are you saying you want to wait until Zap goes down to $15? Okay, anyways, but let's take a look at the original 13, because that's something I love. This really is the selling point for sometimes for classified. Bam, look at that. So this is one of those things where when I look at the original 13, sometimes it's hard to look at figures by themselves without looking at the bigger picture. And this is why I love putting all these figures together, because it really helps me decide which figure I want to aim for, which figure I can wait for, which figure, which version do I want to get, or like, should I really complete the original 13? Is the price going to go higher for all these figures? Because I feel like, Scarlet right now is still like $15, or sometimes going down to $12 or even $10.99, but it's hard to say. I feel like somewhere down the line, in the next year or two, once they release Flash and Grand Slam, I feel like all these figures are just going to skyrocket in price. I don't know. I feel like that's going to happen, just because we can't see the bigger picture of how great these look. Because when I look at all of them, I'm like, that looks freaking awesome. Even though characters like Clutch is more modern compared to all the other ones that are like more retro-y. But they do have a very awesome charm to it, where you can still mix and match your preference of design and characters, because you can still use the Cobra Island breaker with this version if you don't want to use this bubblegum breaker, but the Mass Device version. But otherwise, everybody else is literally on point at this point, no pun intended. So Couch Boy says people get mad at head sculpts like Falcon, like ugly face don't exist. Whoever Lenny made him after cries himself to sleep. People say he's ugly, Zap's too handsome. I mean, Falcon is definitely the worst sculpted figure for sure. There's no denying that. Ionic Blood says they look great together. Oh boy. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, just the color schemes themselves, like, I don't know. It's kind of like sweating buckets, because it's like, okay, do I need to pull the trigger on a Hawk figure? Do I need to... Because, like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Ken Matinee says, I still don't have a breaker, shaking my head. You don't have the Mass Device breaker, or you don't have the Cobra Island breaker? Benedict says Retro Snake Eyes is over $100. Is that on card though, or is that loose? Because I don't know how many like on card or mint on card or like inbox collectors we have, so neither. Oh man, that sucks. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'll try to help you out best I can if I could ever find one. Or maybe if Alan is still in the chat, maybe if he ever comes across a breaker, he can definitely help you out. He usually finds some really good figures. at his target. Nick Fury, welcome to the chat. I think this is your first time here. It says it represents Falcon in the comics when he was on drugs. Okay. I mean, if you're using that story, then yeah, and I think that makes perfect sense. Couchboy says Snake Eyes cards are shot Benedict, so $100 mint's nice. Most cards are imperfect on retro Snake Eyes. Because if you don't care about the packaging, then I think you can probably find a retro Snake Eyes like pretty cheaper than 100. That's for sure. Maybe $50, 60 at most. I think I'm probably just stretching. I don't know. I haven't really looked it up. Chris Bouchard says, "Are you collecting any Monster Force figures?" No, not yet, but I would really love to. I really want to get that. Like, why do I keep forgetting his damn name? The Forgotten King. I like that one. Yeah, so I really want to get the Forgotten King and see how that works out. Ken Matinee says, "I love both versions. Are getting any Skeletron figures? Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that." Benedict says the card back on the Retro Snake Eyes was paper thin too. So maybe that's one of the things that people are not too happy about, because if it's the paper thin card backs, then that could also lose a lot of its value too. I don't know. But yeah, so we will come back to the original 13 once they release Grand Slam and Flash, the last two remaining characters. But for now, it's good to know that we have these 13 we have these 13 or 11 in our hands at the moment, roughly. All right, now let's move on to, what are we moving on to? There we go. The female Crimson Guard. How did everybody do on this one? Couch Boy says a uniformed OG 13 will come if the line goes long enough. They will make the original 13 supposed to go together, I bet, in a set. I mean, I don't know if they would put all 13 in one box, but they could change some things around. Swift of Horror says the Forgotten King is so nice. Yeah, I was planning on pre-ordering that figure for October to do for my Retro Shark channel toy reviews for October, but I didn't get the chance to do it because I ended up buying other figures. But I will, hopefully for next October, I should get the Forgotten King. That would be nice. I want to get the Forgotten King, and then there's that other guy. Honestly, I don't remember any of their names. Dr. Caligari, if that's his name, the one with the tube with the brain inside. I definitely want to get that. I definitely want to get the squid looking, the tentacle, the green with the Cobra Commander head sculpt. I definitely want to get that one as well. So I want to be very selective with Monster Force. Not every character, but just some of those I think would be great in my collection. Yeah, I've seen people use the general with their classified figures, so that works out. So that's good. General is a good crossover with G.I. Joe. Chris says, I just bought the Phantom Core Trooper from Monster Force. Nice, congrats. Swift of Horror says the General has 3 extra heads, so you can make like the jugglers. You can also make General Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, again, like I've seen some photography of people and they did a pretty decent job with, like, you know, there'll be like Hawk, Flint, and Duke in the room, and then they'll use like the General from Monster Force giving orders and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. Alan says, I'm mad that I didn't buy a Vamp, but didn't want to spend $100 for it. I hope they re-release it. I need a clutch to complete the original 13. Yeah, it's crazy how some, like the Stinger, they re-released like so many times over the past year or year and a half. But for some reason for Clutch, he's kind of like nowhere to be found as a re-release or like a, you know. Very strange, their methods. Swift of Horror says, I bought a bunch of Skeletron figures on Black Friday. I have a bunch of Monster Force on the way. Yeah, man, those Skeletron figures, holy crap. I did not realize how good they all look. I mean, what was it? I don't have, I mean, I never did the Kickstarter, but I looked at the figures and I think I probably will at some point. Um, I just know that if they can do like more colors in those characters, that would look fantastic. Timothy James says definitely got the female Crimson Guards. How many did you get, Timothy? So the reason why I say this because this is a retro card back female Crimson Guard, and I always say like almost every video that a female Crimson Guard or just a female character, whether Cobra or Joe, is always welcoming into the collection because I think they do a pretty good job with the female characters, unless you exclude Lady Jaye, the first release. But most of the time, they do a really great job with them. And you know I'm a sucker for the bigger picture here, but if you really look at it, and hopefully I'm not mistaken or missed anything, but when you see the bigger picture of where they're going with the Crimsons, I'm kind of like, holy shit. You know, like you kind of want to like slap yourself in the face if you're not collecting the Crimson Guards, because you're just like, now that I see this, I'm like, oh man. Because even if if you're not too nitpicky on the shades of Crimson or the reds, but the fact that they're really tossing in like a whole team of Crimsons, then I'm just like, I think I don't know if you want to include the other Viper that came in the 3-pack with the other Vipers, the red and gray one, but we already have this Crimson version anyway. But this is great like visualizations in the sense of you have the Crimson Tomax and Zamat and Baroness still kind of like lead the way. You have, depending on your rankings, you can have the regular Crimson Guard with the retro Crimson Guard with the silver faceplate, and then the female Crimson Guards like probably in the middle. I don't know where you want to have it. I would definitely put like maybe the bats in the far back, and then Alley Vipers seem more I guess more higher ranked, right? Like in terms of like, I feel like they can last a little bit longer than regular Crimson Guards. So put bats in the Crimson Guards, Alley Vipers in the back, and then have the rest kind of like be in the front. So that would be pretty cool. Yule, not Yule, welcome to the chat, says, I don't know why they went retro with the female Crimson Guard and Zap. Yeah, I agree. I really don't know either. Swift of Horror says, I wish I would have bought more retro Crimson Guards. Damn. Nick Fury says, the female Crimson Guard is perfect. I need at least 10. 10 is a good number. I always usually say 6 is a very decent number. 10 is like a lot, but also good. But I always say like 6 is perfect. Couchboy says, Haya has the Gung Ho. I think I have none of the Haya or Hia toys, but I think the Gung Ho is new. Yeah, they released a new Gung Ho figure, and this one is more retro colored. The first Gung Ho they released had the dark green regular classified pants, and then they gave him the teal vest, which didn't really make much sense. So this is kind of like a course correction. Ken Matinee says, I've gotten the Crimson Baroness with twins and 2 male Crimson Blackface. I pre-ordered 1 female Crimson. So I feel like with this, right, with I think like the Tomax and Zamat figures are great. It's just that I wish they would have just gave different head sculpts, like with like maybe a yelling face or maybe one with like a mullet, because I feel like we're gonna get a Tomax and Zamat at some point in their extensive Enterprise suits, because those are very iconic outfits that they wore in the cartoon. So I guess even the comics, I suppose, but we like giving them suit versions with the mullets. I think that would be a little more cooler. And I think that would have made the incentive of the Tomax and Xamot figures a little bit better, but it's still fine. Swift of Horror says, crazy how the troop builders are more expensive than the named figures. Well, I think I can shed some light on that, because for anyone that collects G.I. Joe or knows G.I. Joe or whatever, the army builders are really the main selling point for Cobra. Because if you were to make a list of Cobra characters in terms of like the main roster of Cobra characters, there's really not a lot. Probably like less than 12 or 13. I don't know, depending on if you don't want to include like Dreadnoks. I mean, you could. I'm just saying, like, if you just have Zartan or whatever, but there's really not a lot. So then what is Cobra mostly consisted of? They're basically all army builders, because you have one-off characters like, you know, Crystal Ball or Nemesis Immortal Enforcer or whatever, and then I don't know, like Dr. Mindbender, etc. But when you have other Cobra characters, like, think about it, anyone that's named a Viper is literally an army builder. Night Viper, Hydro Viper, Toxo Viper, Alley Viper, you know, whatever, you name it, you got it. So a lot of, basically like 90% of Cobra is really just army builders. So it makes sense why they would make that more expensive than regular like solo figures, because depending on your preference, it's really just like when you get a Storm Shadow or say Major Blood or any other character, it's kind of like a one and done deal, right? Depending on your preference of style. So if you already get like a Major Blood figure or Dr. Mindbender or whatever, it's like you don't really need another one because it's as good as it gets. So now with the army builders, you can literally make so many other variants, so many other colors, so many other new versions, new tooling of them to make the line last a lot longer. And then on top of that, you know, you make them like exclusives, or, you know, you make them hard to find, like the snow serpents or eels, you know, etc. So I kind of get it. Like, it makes sense why they would make the army builders the more expensive ones, just because they are the more essential ones. Unless you are a collector who just wants one of each figure, then that's a whole different story. But have you seen like some of the collectors out there who have like hundreds or like 50 versions of like every single Cobra army builder? Like, they are like going all in, and it's insane. Oh man, I forgot about the Red Ninja. Yeah, but then again, the Red Ninja wasn't really considered well, they didn't call him Crimson Ninja, so, but I should have included him on there anyway. Shoot, I knew I was forgetting somebody or something. That's okay. So anyways, so those were the Crimson characters. Pretty good stuff, and we will definitely come back to these guys in the future whenever they release like more Crimson characters at some point. So at least we know that they are open to creating female Crimson figures. So now we should probably get like a female Alley Viper. I don't know, that would be really cool. I don't know if anyone saw the Higher Hia Toys Alley Viper. That one looks amazing. I love that design. Alan Balcom says, just saw that Dial Tone is available on Amazon for $15 if anyone is interested. Holy shit, I need to buy myself a Dial Tone. Alright, I'll get him after the stream's over. Hopefully if it's still there. Thank you so much, Alan. Swift of Horror says, yeah, people went nuts with the bats when they came out. I only bought 2 bats because I preferred other troopers. Yeah, I mean, again, collecting is really up in your preference. So, you know, it really just, whatever makes you happy, you just buy whatever makes you happy, you know. Female Skullbuster, that would be sick. I mean, there's also Evie, don't forget that, from the Deke series, if she counts. Even though she's more like a one and done trooper. Even though, well, no, you can use her as an army builder. That's fine. unless they call her Eevee, that's a whole different story. But female Skullbuster is basically, yeah, that would work. I agree with that one. Okay, so we will come back to these Crimson characters at some point in the future. Let me see here. What am I missing now? Okay. So let's take a look at what we know so far for classified in terms of what figures are coming soon, because as of renders, the only 4 figures that we know of and are aware of is the 3 Arctic characters that's coming as the Haslab Snowcat. And since at the time of making this live stream, it is November 30th, so December is basically tomorrow, which means we have no other digital renders to go off of probably up until February, unless they decide to do like the Arctic Hisstank, whatever. So we'll come back to that. But these 3 characters will be one and done once next year comes around, because again, we have a whole like 8-9 months until these damn figures come out. Then the Royal Guard, part of the Cobra La team, I actually thought would have been up for pre-order later this year, but we just got a render. So, other than that, really good looking figure. I love it. Looks nice. And these are the only 4 that we have of so far. So until we get any more, we'll definitely do updates in the future. But for now, these are the only 4 renders we have to work off of. And then for coming soon in classified line, we already know that Iceberg has, so technically all of these are confirmed anyway, but we know that the Haslab Snowcat is on the way, and 2026 should be the year of snow characters, because I'll tell you this now, if they drop the ball on Arctic characters moving forward, I will be very upset, because you're selling a niche vehicle for snowy terrains, and on top of that, it's going to be like freaking July at that point. Not everyone lives in the snow, so they really need to give us the ultimate FOMO for those who didn't back the Snowcat with, not just Iceberg, but like Wind Chill, Sub-Zero, Avalanche, and all those other Arctic characters. Like, they really need to be like in 2026, starting from January or even February when they have GI Joe Day. From there on forward, they really need to utilize the snowy atmosphere to make the Haslab Snowcat and like very nice, because if we were to look back in time, for those who keep track, when the Hisstank came out, look at the offerings they gave us with the Hisstank. We had the 788 Fire Team, and then we also had the Red Techno Viper with the HMS, right? Yeah. So they gave us like 4 additional characters with an add-ons, and you're just like, holy shit, like if I didn't get a Hisstank, like now there's other 4 red characters that I need. But then the Dragonfly, if you want to include these Steel Core figures, for the Dragonfly, they didn't give us anyone, really. The Dragonfly was mostly, the photography showcased, you could use Wolf Spider from Night Force if you want, or maybe it was catered towards Night Force in general in terms of color schemes, but they didn't offer any other like groups of characters to go with the Dragonfly, like a separate set of 3 figures to accompany, Wild Bill, or even, I don't know, just like some type of group, like how they made the 788 Fire Team. And then the Rattler didn't even come out with really anything other than those 3 essential characters. And now we're heading towards the Haslab Snowcat, and there's so many snowy characters that in 2026 they really have to build upon that story, because if the Haslab comes out and then they start releasing the snow characters, like that's That's one way to create FOMO, but I think the whole point is to entice it as you move forward, starting like January, to be like, hey, not just Iceberg, but like Wind Chill is coming out, Avalanche is coming out. Just make people be like, their value for getting the Snowcat is worth it, because again, it's a niche vehicle for snowy terrains. I mean, you could use it in the desert, I guess, but it just depends on your preference. Let's read the chat. Swift says, I like the idea of building Crimson characters with Ted, red shadows, crimson shadows. Oh, the crimson shadows from Valaverse. Ooh, yeah. I just realized, Swift of Horror, Valaverse has the crimson shadows. Monster Force is coming out with the red shadow. What is it called? The Wolves Order of the Crimson Moon. Classified has their crimsons. So holy crap, you can literally mix and match so many different stuff, which is really good. Nick Fury says Cobra really isn't all army builders except for the main squad. I agree. Couchboy says Red Hooded Cobra Commander, Goldface Destro, and Crimson is a must. Oh yeah, good one. Kenneth Bryan, welcome to the chat, says, man, Dial Tone is $26 on Amazon. Oh, so he's not $15 anymore? Because Alan said he was $15. Oh, that sucks. Couchboy says Cobra is cooler than Joe's by miles. Cobra bleeds cool. I mean, let's be honest. The Joes are cool, but without the Cobras, you know what I mean. Robert Wantland says, can't stay, just wanted to say, Shark, you're the bomb, yo. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate that, man. That really does mean a lot to me. Thank you, Robert, for supporting the channel. And thank you to everyone that's in the chat tonight. Thank you for those that are watching right now. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. Alan says, Couchboy says, people will spray Arctic Hiss black at the right price. Yeah, I mean, Alan says Shark just sent Shark a DM that it is showing Dial Tone on sale. Odd thing is, if you have Prime, you won't see the price. It's regular price. When is send it to my wife? Let me check on my phone real quick. Give me a second. I'm very curious. G.I. Joe Classified. Oh, no, you said you sent me a photo, right? Give me a second. Crap. Where am I even going? Okay, so hold on. So it does say $16.95. Okay, so let me see on my phone. Oh shit. Hold on. If you guys can look on the screen, check it out on the screen real quick. Or hold on. Crap. Where am I? Amazon.com. GI Joe Classified. All right, everyone, check out the screen, just so, because we have the technology. Right there on the right side, it shows Dial Tone is $16.95, but you have to log in, and there's only 5 in stock. Benny, welcome to the chat, says only watching, can't chat, I'm eating. It's all good, brother. Freedom compatriots, sorry, but what does FOMO meaning? It means fear of missing out, yes. So for anybody that wants Dial Tone, he's literally right there. You can see it on my screen, $16.95. You have to log into your Amazon, and yeah, it says only 5 left. So I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Go, 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 go. So that's cool. That's actually really nice. That's a freaking good price for a dial tone. Very nice. How many of you actually have dial tone? Do you guys? Does anybody need a dial tone? Kenneth Bryant says that's crazy. Mine is showing $26, and I'm logged in. Oh yeah, I didn't read that. $7.95 delivery. No, but if you're an Amazon Prime member, let me see. Give me a second. Let me see. It says $7.95 delivery, $16.95. Oh. But it says that the seller is from Madhouse Toys. It's not shipped via Amazon. I don't know if that's a big difference to you guys. I'm usually very cautious when it comes to these things because unless it says sold by Amazon, that's when I really purchase figures, but it doesn't say it's sold by Amazon. It says the shipper and seller is Madhouse Toys. Okay. Yeah, so the real Zim is correct. It is also shipping stuff as well. Benny says my version also says $26.95. Kenneth says, oh, maybe that's it. So let me just go back to that real quickly. Yeah, so even though it does say it says $16.95, but it's not for it's not sold by Amazon, so it's by Madhouse Toys or whatever, and there is a $7.95 delivery. Although I'm not an Amazon Prime member, so I don't know if it doesn't say free shipping for Prime members, so that's another thing, I guess. Alan says for Prime members the deals are not there. When my wife opens the link, it's regular price. Okay, so it was a good attempt, but I do appreciate Alan for helping all of us out because that was like a quick little mini heart attack for someone who does not have dial tone. So it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm sure he'll come back up soon. We will definitely come back to dial tone at some point. Freedom says that dial tone took forever to be released. Glad I have it, but took forever. Hasbro changed manufacturers or something. I have to say, buyers beware with Amazon. Yeah, that's true. You definitely have to be cautious about that. Kenneth says, okay, I do see it. Freedom says a dial tone. Oh, no, I just read that. Okay. So that is pretty much, nope. Hold on. We have to do the subscriber gift unboxing. Timeout. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So if you guys just caught the stream earlier, I talked about Alan sending me this Optimus Primal Blockies figure model kit. Very, very awesome. I have a review coming on the Retro Shark channel, so stay tuned for that. But now let's take a look at what this subscriber sent. All right, so this box is given by none other than Sendil Krishnan. He is the same subscriber from 2 years ago who sent the Haslab Hisstank. So he told me that what did he tell me? He told me that there's multiples in here, and that I'm allowed, if I want to, do a giveaway. So I might just do that on the channel. So I don't even know what the hell it is, to be quite honest. He just told me that it's going to be something nice. So let's see what it is. So here's the box. I just opened the tape like before the stream started, so I have zero idea what's in here. Sendel Krishnan, this is dedicated to you. So hopefully you can see the stream later whenever you're... All right, so we have the box. It is definitely classified figures. Holy shit. Oh gosh. Holy moly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Sendel Krishnan. I'm going to do a review of this on the Retro Shark page, but he sent me the Steeler and Short Fuse 2-pack. Oh, thank you so much, man. That is... wow. Dude, thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, man, these guys look great in person. Okay, there's still 2 more, so let me see what else he sent. Holy shit. All right, guys. Okay. So Sendel Krishnan, dude, what the hell, man? Okay, so he sent me 2 more Steeler and Short Fuses. Wow, 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 wow. So wow. So that's literally, I mean, 3 Steeler and Short Fuses. That is insanity. Thank you so much, Sendel Krishnan, brother. Holy moly. I think I will most likely do a giveaway. I don't know when, because I'm going to have to figure out the rules and stipulations for this, because I've never done a giveaway on the channel yet. But this would be a great time to start. So yeah, I think we'll do a giveaway on the channel for the Steeler and Short Fuses, but that's after I do an actual review on the other Retro Shark channel. So holy shit. Anyways, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for joining tonight's live stream. Stay tuned for the giveaway. I'll make the announcement once I figure it out how I want to do it. But thank you for joining me on this Sunday. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys had a very, very awesome and blessed Thanksgiving. We are heading into December now, so let's see what else happens in terms of... holy shit, I totally forgot. We're not done yet. Did we talk about this? I didn't get to finish the other figures. Sorry, my apologies. Arctic Assault Hisstank is made to order. We'll talk about that whenever they do the actual figures. Hydro Viper, I'm really excited for. I just hope that they don't botch his face, but I think they'll do a great job. Ninja Force, Zartan, don't really care for. Zanya or Zanya, I'm sure she's going to look great for the Dreadnoks. Taurus and Reddog definitely will accompany Mercer and Sergeant Slaughter, so can't wait for that. And to be announced as Flash. There was a leak listing for Flash like long time ago, so we haven't seen anything about that just yet, but I'm sure we will. Okay, so that was a rapid fire. So yeah, I will definitely do a subscriber gift giveaway for the Steeler and Short Fuse 2-pack, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. I'll come up with all the rules and stipulations for it, so I think that would be great. I want to thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate you for supporting the channel. Thank you for liking tonight's stream. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for just being here and communicating, for all those in the chat, for all those that were watching. Thank you for joining in on this lovely Sunday night. I really do appreciate it. So I would love to thank you guys all for watching again, and I'll see you all in December for whatever next live stream we do. So hopefully something good comes out of it. And thank you to all the channel donators for tonight. That was such a great great fun highlight. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all in the next live stream, whenever the hell that is. But have a beautiful week, and I'll see you all in the next video.